Dante Alighieri, Dante's Inferno, Canto 5. And so from Circle 1 I now went down deeper to Circle 2, which bounds a lesser space, and therefore greater suffering. Its sting is misery. Minos stands there, horribly there, and barking. He, on the threshold, checks degrees of guilt, then judges and dispatches with his twirling tail. I mean that every ill-begotten creature, when summoned here, confesses everything. And he, his sense of sin is very fine, perceives what place in hell best suits each one, and coils his tail around himself to tell the numbered ring to which he'll send them down. Before him, as always, stands a crowd of souls. By turns they go, each one for sentencing. Each pleads, attends, and then is tipped below. You there, arriving at this house of woe. So, when he saw me there, the judge spoke forth, to interrupt a while his formal role. Watch as you enter, and in whom you trust. Don't let yourself be fooled by this wide threshold. My leader's thrust. This yelling, why persist? Do not impede him on his destined way, for this is willed where all is possible that is willed there, and so demand no more. But now the tones of pain, continuing, demand I hear them out, and now I've come where grief and weeping pierce me at the heart. And so I came where light is mute, a place that moans as oceans do, impelled by storms, surging, embattled in conflicting squalls. The swirling wind of hell will never rest. It drags these spirits onwards in its force. It chafes them, rolling, clashing grievously. Then, once they reach the point from which they fell, screams, keening cries, the agony of all and all blaspheming at the holy power. Caught in this torment, as I understood, were those who, here condemned for carnal sins, made reason bow to their instinctual bent. As starlings on the wing in winter chills are borne along in wide and teeming flocks, so on these breathing gusts the evil souls. This way and that and up and down they're borne. Here is no hope of any comfort ever, neither of respite nor of lesser pain. And now, as cranes go singing lamentations, and form themselves through air in long-drawn lines, coming towards me, trailing all their sorrows, I saw new shadows lifted by this force. Who are these people? Tell me, sir, I said, why black air scourges them so viciously. The first of those whose tales you wish to hear, he answered me without a moment's pause, governed as empress over diverse tongues. She was so racked by lust and luxury, licentiousness was made legal under laws she made, to lift the blame that she herself incurred. This is Semiramis. Of her one reads that she, though heir to Ninus, was his bride. Her lands were those where now the Sultan reigns. The other, love-lorn, slew herself and broke her vow of faith to Zacchaeus' ashes. And next, so lascivious, Cleopatra. Helen, you see, because of her, a wretched waste of years went by. See, great Achilles, he fought with love until his final day. Paris, you see, and Tristan there. And more than 1,000 shadows he numbered, naming them all, whom love had led to leave our life. Hearing that man of learning herald thus these chevaliers of old, and noble ladies, pity oppressed me, and I was all but lost. How willingly I turned towards the poet, and speak to those two there who go conjoined, and look to be so light upon the wind. And he to me, you'll see them clearer soon. When they are closer, call to them, invoke the love that draws them on, and they will come. The wind has swept them nearer to us now. I moved into them in words. So wearied creatures, come, if none forbids, to us, and, breathless, speak. As doves, when called by their desires, will come, wings spreading high to settle on their nest, borne through the air by their own steady will, so these two left the flock where Dido is. They came, approaching through malignant air, so strong for them had been my feeling cry. Our fellow being, gracious, kind, and good, You, on your journeying through this bruised air, here visit two who tinged the world with blood. Suppose the sovereign of the universe were still our friend, we'd pray he grant you peace, your pity so that ill perverting us. Whatever you may please to hear or say, we as we hear, we as we speak, assent, so long as they do now, these winds stay silent. My native place is set along those shores through which the river Po comes down to be at last at peace with all its tributaries. Love, who so fast brings flame to generous hearts, seized them with feeling for the lovely form now torn from me. The harm of how still rankles. Love, who no loved one pardons love's requite, seized me for him so strongly in delight that as you see, he does not leave me yet. Love drew us onwards to consuming death. Cain's ice awaits the one who quenched our lives. These words, borne on to us from them, were theirs. And when I heard these spirits in distress, I bowed my eyes and held them low, until at length the poet said, "What thoughts are these?" I, answering in the end, began, "Alas, how many yearning thoughts, what great desire, have led them through such sorrow to their fate?" And turning to them now, I came to say, "Francesca, how your suffering saddens me. Sheer pity brings me to the point of tears. But tell me this, the how of it, and why that love in sweetness of such sighing hours permitted you to know these doubtful pangs." To me she said, "There is no sorrow greater than, in times of misery, to hold at heart the memory of happiness. Your teacher knows. And yet, if you so deeply yearn to trace the root from which the love we share first sprang, then I shall say, and speak as though in tears. One day we read together, for pure joy, how Lancelot was taken in love's palm. We were alone, we knew no suspicion. Time after time, the words we read would lift our eyes and drain all colour from our faces. A single point, however, vanquished us. For when at last we read the longed-for smile of Guinevere, at last her lover kissed, he, who from me now will never depart, touched his kiss, trembling to my open mouth. This book was Gallenhalt. Pander penned the pimp. That day we read no further down those lines. And all the while, as one of them spoke on, the other wept, and I, in such great pity, fainted away as though I were to die. And now I fell as bodies fall, for dead.